Welcome. So today we're going to go over a few issues that I see that beginning photographers have. Now I teach college photography class and I get new students all the time, and these are just simple things that I see all the time. So we're going to go over and talk about them and why I have them. So the first thing is I don't actually use a lens cap on my camera or my lens specifically. So I'm going to explain why I don't use a lens cap. This does not mean that you shouldn't use a lens cap. If you want to use one, feel free, but I'll explain why I don't. Now, a lens comes without this filter on the front of it. Now, this type of filter just screws on. You are almost always going to get a filter called a UV filter, and that's basically the standard filter that goes on the front of a lens. Now, a lot of beginning students or photographers don't use these because they don't know what it's for. You'd be surprised. Actually, its use is something that you wouldn't think of. So this is an ultraviolet filter. If you get the UV filter, which is kind of sort of the standard haze filter, it would block out the ultraviolet light rays. But that's not actually the important part of the filter. If you were to buy this lens, and let's say that this lens costs $1,000, if you bang or scratch the front lens element of this glass, you've basically ruined your lens. So by simply putting a filter on the end of your lens, it's going to protect it from damage and getting scraped. So if it gets scratched or broken, hey, all you have to do is unscrew this filter, go get yourself another filter and screw it back on. You can pay $75, $50 for an ultraviolet filter, or you can pay $5 or $10 for a filter. It really depends on the type of lens that you have. If you have a nice quality lens, you don't want to put plexiglass in front of it. So you're going to get a high quality, like a B plus W filter. If you have a basic kind of lens kit lens, then go ahead and get the $10 filter. It's not going to make that much of a difference. The main thing we have here is a lens is getting protected. So here is a photo of a filter. Now this is a circular polarizing filter, and we're not going to go into that, but just assume as of right now that this is just a regular ultraviolet filter. These good ones are made of brass, not just plain metal, and then they screw on to the front of your lens. They do make a thin version for a wide angle lens, so you don't want this to be really thick on a really wide angle lens because it might vignette or hit it. But basically, most of the lenses that you're going to be using are just kind of a regular size. Otherwise, if you don't have a wide angle lens, just the regular width of this is going to work. So these are wonderful, and the main thing is for protection. Now, there's one other aspect. So here we have a lens, and this lens has a lens hood. What does the lens hood do? It's very simple. It blocks out light from hitting at strange angles and causing light flares. Now, sometimes you actually want light flares to happen in photography, and that's okay. But generally, you don't. Lens hoods also protect your lens. So just like the filter that protects the front of the lens from getting scratched, this acts as like a bump stop. So it makes it very difficult to even hit the filter with something, because usually you're going to hit the plastic part of this lens, even if you drop it. If it falls on the front of the lens, most likely it's just going to damage this filter and not any of the lens elements or the front of the lens or the filter. So this is a wonderful thing to stop your camera from getting destroyed. So this is why I don't use the lens cap. So you can see right here, this camera actually has the lens cap on. But since I have a filter as protection and a lens hood, I don't want to constantly take the lens cap on and off. Remember, I'm taking photographs all the time. Taking this on and off sort of becomes a pain in the ass. If my lens gets dirty, all I have to do is clean it. And if this lens filter was to get all messed up and gunky for some reason, I just unscrew it, buy a new one, stick it back on. It's not that much of an expense. The second thing I see photographers running into is cameras come with rear lens caps. Now, rear lens caps I like, and they're great to put on the back of your lens to protect it when you're not using it. However, a lot of people only have one lens when they first get a camera. And when they store their camera, they take the lens and take it off the camera body and put the rear lens cap and then put it in their camera bag. So here's a camera and it has the lens on it. So what you would do is you would take this front lens off and the body, and you would store the body separate from the lens. This is something that you absolutely do not want to do. As you take this lens on and off, the lens and the body have this metal ring. Now some cameras have a plastic ring, but basically this is what locks your camera to your lens. And there's friction and these grind, and you'll notice over time if you take your lenses off on and off all the time, little metal brass shavings will start to appear down in here, and eventually those little shavings are going to get on your sensor. So if you do not have to take your lens off, don't take your lens off, because it's going to keep, one thing, dust from getting inside of your camera and metal shavings and other items getting either inside your camera and getting up in here to the Fresnel screen if you have a DSLR, or back onto your rear sensor. So don't take your lenses off unless you have to. So here's a look at the back of a 50mm lens, and this is where right here, this kind of bayonet locking mechanism that rubs up against your camera body that I was talking about. You can also get dust and issues back here on this rear lens element, which you don't want as well. So the next thing I can tell you is get yourself a second battery. You're going to go out at one point and your battery is not going to be charged and you're not going to be able to take photos. You're going to forget your battery, or you're going to eventually need two batteries. Get yourself two batteries. This is worthwhile. Check into B&H. They have places like Peerless and Watson. I think it's Watson that makes batteries. You don't have to get name brand all the time. I actually have some Watson batteries that have lasted just as long as my Canon batteries have. The second thing to get multiple items are SD cards or compact flash. Compact flash, or these SD cards, are most likely the weakest link in the camera, and the chances of it failing over time is pretty good. So the last thing you want to be doing is shooting something important and either your card goes bad or you forget to bring the card. Yes, people forget to bring their SD cards. I forget to bring my SD card. I have an extra one in my truck, and I also have made a little SD card holder out of leather and put it on my keychain. So for those times when I'm a moron and I forget to bring my card, I always have backups available. SD cards are cheap. You can get something like this for under $20. That's something that's total affordable. So get yourself a couple SD cards. It will be worth it in the long run. And make sure you get yourself a good card, something with a fast speed. If you get a really slow card, you're going to be sitting in front of your computer forever while this thing downloads. And you also want to make sure it's at least class 10 or you won't even be able to shoot video. So if you see the SanDisk card and it's blue, that's only a class 4 card. That won't shoot video and it's crazy slow. Do yourself a favor, get some cards and get some fast cards. SanDisk is a really good brand. This is one that I would recommend. I've never had any problems with them. So this guy here has a camera bag. It's not a huge camera bag and probably a big issue, but in general, using a camera bag is good to store your stuff in, but not good to take with you. What's going to happen is all this weight is going to be put on one side of your shoulder, and you're going to get like muscle spasms in your neck or shoulder. You're better off either using a backpack like this guy right here, and that's going to distribute the weight better, or what I really like is waist belts, because the waist belts puts all that weight around your waist, and that's very helpful. Or just have two cameras and you don't need anything else. Be careful when you're walking around taking photos. I know people always want to take all their lenses and everything with them just in case they might need it, but sometimes that weight and carrying it around for 6 to 8 hours a day is not worth it. Be smart about how you distribute the load on your body. The last thing we're going to go over here is holding the camera. So we have this woman here holding the camera, and right here, if she has a big lens or a large lens, eventually this is going to put a lot of stress on her wrist. This is the incorrect way to hold a camera. That is the correct way. Notice how her wrist is underneath the camera. Here it is the wrong way. Here it is the right way. So this guy's holding the camera right. He's using his arm almost as like a tripod support. So it kind of goes down. You can even kind of jam that into your gut or stomach. So once again, this guy is holding it correctly. Not a big deal if you just have a light camera, but if you start getting heavy lenses, this is going to really help you just support and stabilize that camera a whole lot better than if you do it incorrectly. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below, and don't forget to subscribe.